everyone.
Good
Just
morning.
two quick announcements here. First off, Tuesday night is our concert with United Hearts for Ukraine. We'd love to fill the house up. We've got a number of people coming, but if you're not doing anything Tuesday night, there's a concert that's a gratitude to the U.S., a tour of Ukrainian musicians, and they're going to be performing here. So we're kind of blessed because they're doing a U.S. tour, and there's probably only about 10 or 15 cities, and we're one of them. So Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, so please join us for that. And also, December 7th, we have our Christmas party, and that's on the books. In Art of Living will be doing it with us again, so we'll have some performers in here, and a Christmas party, and Santa Claus, and everything. So that is the 7th at 7 o'clock. All right, that is it.
Thank you, Bruce. And I know Miss Evelyn doesn't like those shout outs, but we have to give Miss Evelyn a happy birthday. She just turned 9, everybody. She just turned 9. See Miss Evelyn after service for the mystical interpretation of the number 9. Because nobody knows mysticism like Miss Evelyn, which is awesome. So, ma'am?
Heather.
Oh, okay. See? Hey, man, we love our people. We love our people. So.
Thank you, and I love you guys too.
Yeah. Amen. Community really is everything, but I won't start the message beforehand, so let's just do what we came to do real quick. If you will, join me for a moment of affirmative prayer. Collectively, in this sacred space, we turn within in the spirit of family and community and laughter. We give thanks that the presence of God is already here. We come in harmony with that which is, and we allow it to freely move throughout the service to bless and enrich all of us. We allow the soul and the heart to come in harmony with infinite intelligence and speak to all of us, healing us, restoring us, and guiding us a little further on the journey. We declare blessings not only on this service in divine order, but we speak blessings on our Monday through Saturday that is ahead of us, affirming in advance that all is well. And it's in the name and the nature of all that is holy, we affirm again, all is well. Amen.
Good morning, Unity of Birmingham. Good morning. It's lovely to see your beautiful faces here and all those online tuning in. I'm going to lead you in a guided visual meditation. This is an autumn meditation, so if you would, make sure your phones are silenced before we get started. Relax in your chair. Sit comfortably in an upright posture, relaxing your shoulders. Close your outer eyes or soften your gaze. Plant your feet on the floor, feeling the earth below supporting you. Rest your hands on your lap, palms up, and open to receive. And slowly breathe in, letting the belly inflate. Hold the breath for a few seconds. Then release as your belly deflates. Let's do this a couple more times. Breathe in. Hold your breath. And release. One more time. Now breathe what is normal for you. Breathe in the cooler, crisp autumn air and release the warm humidity of summer, letting go of any tensions from this time before this moment. As you breathe, envision yourself strolling through a picturesque park with crunchy leaves beneath your feet. Further afield, you see a spectacular maple tree. Notice the tire swing connected to a branch on that tree. Trusting its strength, you take a seat and gently sway. Gazing upward, you notice the colorful leaves as they begin to fall on and around you. What colors are you seeing? Open your hands to catch a few. Feel the texture of the dry, crunchy, rusty brown one in contrast with the smoother red, yellow, and orange ones. Notice the pattern and shape of the leaf with its veins and points. Continue to be aware of your breath. Touch your toes to the earth, twisting the ropes on the swing as much as you can, holding for a second or two. With eyes closed, let yourself go, feeling the motion and breeze as you twirl fast and furious like a merry-go-round. As the swing slows and spin, you recline back while looking up. Enjoy the expansive blue sky. Are there any clouds? Do you see treetops? Rooftops? Once again, breathe in the cool, crisp autumn air. Release the warm humidity of summer. Let go of the trials and tribulations for a brief time, knowing all is well and that God has this. Breathe in gratitude for the harvest that you've reaped this year. Let us take a minute or two to reflect on what that looks like in the silence. As you continue to breathe, envision your dreams, desires, or intentions for the future, so they will manifest in the spring. Practice this often in your solitude during the longer moon visits of fall and the looming darkness of winter. Bring your awareness back to the swing. It's time to return home. As you saunter again through the crisp fall leaves, ferns, and acorns, you notice a beautiful doe in the distance. Your eyes meet. Allow the love that nature is communicating to you as you gaze at each other for a few moments. Knowing you will meet again, you bid her farewell. You walk on, breathing in the clean, crisp autumn air, releasing the warm humidity of summer, and slowly sojourn your way back to this place right here, right now, feeling relaxed and ready to embrace the changes within you. Happy fall.
In that same space, here comes the sun. Right where you are, in the space of safety, in the space of healing. I want you to imagine the sun rising within your heart, giving thanks for the breath of life, nefesh, the soul, the Spirit of God as it moves through your mind, your heart, stirring you, awakening every good thing that could possibly exist in the universe. And see these good things collectively with me as they come forth within your mind and your heart and come out into your life, blessing and enriching the world. And also in this same space, I want you to hold the space of healing for all those that could not make it today. Hold a special place of healing, if I may say, for our sister and brother Nick and Leah as their family was protected on this week. Hold a space of healing for all of our loved ones, both near and far, knowing together with me and affirming that we are always protected, we are always guided, and that the impulses that move through our mind and our body that sometimes lead us to do crazy things also sharpens our intellect and sharpens our awareness, and with lightning speed, we can make the right move, the right decision at the right time to extend life so that life may go on, to protect ourselves and to protect one another, to stand up and speak truth in those places where it is required. Together with me, know deep down on the inside that all is well. Join me in a big, deep breath into the nose, out through the mouth, releasing the sign of letting go every happening that occurred and giving thanks for the presence of now, the presence of life, the presence of God. And so it is, and so it is. If you will, rub your hands together and point them in the direction of the camera and say this with me: divine love in us blesses and multiplies all that you hear, all that you receive. Know in this moment you are safe, you are protected, and you are loved. And so it is. Our ministry is supported by partners like you. Remember to log on to unitybham.org and click one. Giving moderators are always on standby before and after the service. So as we say every week, wherever you see this message, either on Facebook, YouTube, or our website, feel free to engage with us. Post your comments online. And the things that you have in your heart that are occurring in your life, we will hold them in prayer with you, affirming that all is well. Say with me, and so it is. Good morning, family.
Good morning.
It is a blessing, first of all, to be back in community. Say this with me: I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of spirit. Community is a powerful thing. I don't think I'd rather do community with anybody else. Put your hands together for that. This is true. Sometimes the world tries, and I'm like, nope, I want to be home. And they're like, but, I'm like, nope, I want to be home. There's nothing like home, because you don't have to work hard. You can just be around family. You can let your guard down. There's no anxiety. You can love up on each other. You can cook the right foods because you know what everybody eats. Some like it salty, some don't like salt. Some like a lot of sugar, some don't like sugar. Some like it straight. Give it to me, Rev, straight, because I gotta go. I got 5 minutes and I got something else to do. Okay, here you go. We know one another. And in that shared commonality, there's peace, there's comfort, there's safety. Because there are a lot of places and spaces in the world where they are, literally the spaces are coming into being. So the element of safety isn't always, this is true, the element of safety isn't always there. But aren't you glad that there are still spaces on the planet where there is literally no effort, where you don't have to work, where it's not your responsibility to do everything, where you can come and just be for a second. You can just take it off, take off the mask and just chill. Nobody will ask you for anything. Nobody wants you to do anything. Their concern is, how are you? How you doing? how's the family? And how's the family isn't so that we can get in your business either. Although some communities, that's a different story. But how's the family is a sincere request of, hey, where are you? What are you doing? How's things going? And I hear the presence of God so rich and so deep in that, which is why this month I wanted to align with Unity's theme of the 12 powers of zeal. And this month's theme, if you haven't heard last week, is divine enthusiasm. Say this with me, in divine enthusiasm. And today's topic is responding to life. Because enthusiasm or zeal, Charles Fillmore uses both words because they kind of mean the same thing. It's the impulse of life. It's the impulse driving you to live. And so that impulse, according to Fillmore, is the impulse of life itself. It's what Freud called the libido, and he wasn't speaking sensually. He was talking about both of them, just this impulse of life going on. And so enthusiasm, when you look at the word, because I'm a word guy, when we say words, they do matter. And they not just matter, but they materialize. Say this with me, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm in Greek is entheos, E-N-T-H-E-O-S, the root word. And entheos means in God or God within. So when we're talking about zeal and the zest for life, we're not just talking about happiness. Yes, it can differentiate and express itself in terms of happiness, but behind happiness is this undifferentiated impulse that we call the universal impulse, or we just call God, mind, spirit, and it expresses itself as happiness. Charles Fillmore, in the 11th chapter where he talks about zeal, he says that these impulses, all of them have different names. We call them 12 powers. The 12 signs of the zodiac, which Joseph Murphy said are the animalistic instincts inside of our being that we have to discipline. So they are 12 disciples. Discipline and disciple mean the same thing. So we develop these powers, according to Murphy and a lot of the other sages, so that the God-human, the divine qualities of who we are can appear on earth. That's why we talk about these powers. Yes, there are a multitude of powers. There are a multitude of impulses, all with all kinds of names. But when we get to the core of them, they all come from a universal source. The real question is, what is that universal source? We call it first cause if you want to be deep and philosophical. I just like to keep it simple and call it God. It's God, and it differentiates itself. And these impulses that go out, they know nothing but themselves. Meaning that when love goes out, love is only conscious of itself. So all love wants to do is love. When all of these impulses go out of the soul, all the mystics caution us and they tell us, hey, all of these things that come out of us, they're all good. They're all lovely. But don't forget the source of them. The source of them is the Christ potential. It is the blueprint. And when you realize the source of all of the impulses that are within the mind, all of the impulses that are within the heart, all of the impulses that are within the soul, then you become the driver of these impulses. You can direct them of zeal or enthusiasm. Fillmore says in that 11th chapter, hey, don't suppress your desires. Don't suppress them. Ride and drive the car, analyze and then redirect them. Because if you focus all of your energy, all of your powers in the direction that you want to go, the things that you are praying for will come to pass. To keep it simple, Johnny Coleman, Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman used to say, when you pray, move your feet. When you pray, move your feet. Meaning the stuff that you are holding in your heart, see the source, which is the source of life, so that you can control. Say this with me, control. It allows you to get a hold of yourself when you see things clearly. Eric Butterworth used to say all the time that our job isn't to make things right. Our job is first to see things right. We see it right. We see the source. We see the source of life within our very being. And then when these impulses come out of the heart, they're not crazy things. They're not things that are outside of our control, so that we show up as our best self. And then for the times where we're not our best self, after 5 o'clock, when we get off the clock, off the job, and that other stuff comes out, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, Lord, don't do that. I got to go to church Sunday. When all of that stuff comes out, we give ourselves grace because we realize that we too are becoming. So my first invitation on today is a very simple one. Let yourself be. Let yourself be. Give yourself some grace. Because although sometimes life doesn't seem to respond to us the way that we would like, and although we don't oftentimes respond to life the way that we would like, we are all growing in grace. We are all growing and learning about this divine potential that we call the Christ. And the Christ wasn't just the last name of an individual who lived 2,000 years ago named Jesus. Christ is the archetypal principle. It's the spiritual name for the begotten, the expression of God. And if this is true, according to all the sages, then this principle is alive not just in one being, but in every person. This is the heart of the unity teachings. And this is why so many of the mystics fought so hard to teach and to preach and to live, not so that you can worship them, but so that you can be like them. Because if you're worshiping them, you're underneath them. But if you're being like them, then you're walking beside them. That's another level of responsibility. Don't just worship Jesus. Be like Jesus. Do what he did. Pick your favorite hero, your favorite teacher, your favorite archetype, and express that principle. That's what all the mystics wanted us to know. And here's the thing. You don't have to do it perfectly. Just do it the best that you can. And when you do it the best that you can, the divine grace, divine love that is within you will do the perfecting for you. Say this with me. God is the perfecting agent. So when things happen, even in my own life, I can't make everything perfect. All Jesse can do is do the best he can. All you can do is do the best you can. And God within does the perfecting work by smoothing out the edges. So you don't run yourself raggedy. So that you don't beat yourself up about the times in life where you didn't respond appropriately. Or if there was something else you wish you would have done, but didn't have the courage to do in the moment because the moment was too zesty, too tempting, too crazy, too insane. And the answer didn't come to you until 2 days later. So what are you going to do? You're going to pick up the phone and call them back. And another thing, I should have said this. It's like, bro, you like 2 days later, I don't even know what we're arguing about. What is wrong with you? That's like getting disciplined when you're a kid for something you did last week. Mama, that was last week's report card. That ain't this week's report card. This is different. F stands for fantastic. But it's the presence of life, the presence of God, the undifferentiated source that expresses itself in a multitude of expressions, a multitude of impulses. So no, I don't care what the world says, you're not crazy. Craziness comes out, but that's not all of who you are. In fact, the craziness makes you that much more palatable because now I understand you. Because the crazy in me respects and honors the crazy in you. In fact, join me in an affirmation. The crazy in me honors and respects the crazy in you.
Honors and respects the crazy in you.
Good. Now we got all that out of the way, so y'all safe. We're all humans in this building, I think. And here's what we talked about on last week when we dealt with the original call, which was the call to humanity from the presence of God, Ayeka in Hebrew. Where are you? And when humanity felt like they were in a tight spot and they needed to hide from life, they made these skins or made these clothes out of leaves. And the presence of God is like, bro, what are you wearing? Like, nah, that's Lash's outfit. So instead of clothing them with skins, according to the literal interpretation in the King James Bible, the sages and the rabbis say that Rabbi Meir from the 2nd century said that the presence of God clothed them in light. So bigdai in Hebrew, which is to be clothed with skin, is translated as bigdaior. They were clothed in light because God did not kill animals in order to create skins to give to humanity when they messed up in the garden. Because that would have meant God would have had to commit murder to cover up stuff that we did. That's not how the presence of God worked. God clothed humanity with its own nature because they didn't need paradise. That's why they were kicked out, because paradise was in them. You don't need it anymore because it's in you. And in case they forgot, God said, let me clothe you in it so that in all of your doing, as you are living life, doing the best that you can, loving these children, loving these spouses, or not spouses, or ex-spouses, or wannabe spouses, or used to be spouses. Am I in the building yet? Whatever you got in your life, loving them and doing the best you can, saying the right, giving up your right for somebody else's wrong. Can I be human today? You're doing the best you can, and in all of that doing, God still looks at you and says, you are my beloved. Because it's the presence of God that is the perfecting agent. So, again, zeal is deeper than just happiness. And I have to really clarify that as a wordsmith, because if we think that zeal is just happiness, when happiness seems to be absent, we feel like we've done something wrong. And it's not that you've done something wrong, it's there's something else that you need to see. That it's the source of life that expresses itself in a multitude of beings, in a multitude of expressions, in a multitude of impulses. That is the source. And when you get back to that, you can substitute happiness, which is based on what happens out here, for peace and contentment. So either way, you still get what you're looking for. You may not get this, but you get this. And sometimes that consolation prize is actually better than the original thing you want. Can I say amen? Can I get an amen? I'm talking to some real people. So responding to life is really about doing the best you can. It's about appreciating the roses and realizing that, yes, the roses of life are sometimes made with manure. And yes, sometimes things do stink. Ooh, I'm very real today, excuse me. But just because things stink temporarily, it doesn't mean that they won't beautify later on. Something beautiful can come out of tragedy. Something beautiful can come out of a bad conversation. Something beautiful can come out of a misinterpretation of a comment. And something beautiful can come out of when things go bad. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. And I said, I ain't gonna tell you no lie. As a minister, as a human, I wrestle with that thing of why do bad things happen to good people? And in my own personal understanding and my personal wisdom, the only thing that I can think of is because we have the power of choice. And if the presence of God within fixes the world and makes everything perfect, in order to do so, it has to take away choice. Because in your choice lies freedom. So you have the responsibility to do with it as you please. So in order to make the world perfect and no bad things happen at all, even if you're doing the best you can, I still have to take away your freedom because of what they might do. I have to take away your freedom because of what they might do. I have to take away your freedom because of what they might do. So the presence of God gives of itself unconditionally. Say this with me. And the Son of God gave of itself so that we might live. Regardless of the fundamentalist approach to that scripture, I want you to concentrate on the notion of giving unconditionally. And with that giving, you have the power to do with it whatever you want. Phil Moore, the mystic in who he was, said that in that awareness, recognize there's responsibility because you have the freedom to do what you want. Govern yourself accordingly. And for the times that you don't, thank God that you're alive and you have the breath in your body to try and get it right again, to try and do better the next time. Because this spiritual journey is not about you being so perfect that you're white-knuckling through life and you're twisted and tied because you're trying to say the right thing, do the right thing. Say this with me. I have come so that you might have life and have it abundantly. So just live. Just live. Do the best you can and see what happens. And if something uncomfortable happens down the road, the grace of God that is within you and within all of humanity will support you and help you figure it out. In other words, you will know what you need to know when you need to know it. I wish I knew. I wish I could have found out if somebody had told me. Am I here yet? I wish I had more info. And it's like you only know what you know. You only know what you know. So your response to life is to recognize that because life is, you are. And philosophically, all that means, again, is that life wants you to do the very best you can. Because life is invested in you, in all of you. Me too. Life is invested in you because you're here and you're breathing. Here's the beautiful thing about life. Say this affirmation again. The Son of God gave of itself so that I might live. Every star in our solar system is a potential sun. Yes? Every star in our solar system is a potential sun. Right after the Big Bang and all of the creation and all of those wonderful things and the stars that appeared in the sky, swirling gases pulled together by gravity, they're all potential suns. The iron ore that's in the stars is actually inside of your body right now. So you are made of stardust. The suns, the potential stars in the sky, went supernova, exploded so that their guts might be seeded throughout the universe. The sons of God gave of themselves so that you might live. Evolution happened on if. Evolution happened as a result of if. That right there is love. So the entire universe is invested in you. Did y'all catch that? Yeah. That's the mystical and actually the literal. You are literally embodied with elements that have origin up there. So when we see sacred texts, there are various interpretations. So an invitation is, as you look at these texts to try and find out who you are and what God is saying to you, look at them with the eyes of love and hear the voice of love speaking back to you saying, hey, I know that happened, but I got you. And when you feel like I don't have you, I'm going to get you. I'm going to take care of you. Not punitively, I'm going to make sure it's all right. Because when you are hearing the voice of God speak to you, guess what? It's also going simultaneously to everybody that hears the call. So last week's call to humanity, that call is still ongoing. Some of us respond to it and some of us don't. The reason why we know so much about all of the mystics and the sages, all throughout sacred texts and sacred literature, is because many of them heard the call like the rest of us, because we hear it through these impulses, the call to act, the call to do something, right? We know about them because they responded to the call. They responded to the impulse. And you know how it is, something wakes you up in the middle of the night, and it's not just your bladder, your prostate. Something wakes you up and it's like, I have to get up in the middle of the night and do this and do that. It's the presence of God that wakes you up too. It's like, before I go back to sleep, let me just affirm that the day is well. Not punitively, like, I woke up, let me be superstitious and say that I woke up because something bad is about to happen. No! While I'm already up, let me go ahead and give thanks for the days ahead. Now let me go back to sleep. Because that connection, that call, ayaka, where are you? The correct response in Hebrew, according to the Hebrew text, is hineni. Say this with me, hineni. Hineni means here I am. And it's very different than the call when you were in elementary school and the teacher said, Harriet, and you said present. It's here I am. I'm going to respond. Whatever the presence of life has for me, I'm here. I'm going to do the best I can to help me, my family, and humanity so that everybody can live here in peace and harmony and love. And I'm going to leave the world better than I found it. It's a deep, deep, deep call that speaks directly to your humanity because life itself, the presence of God, is spirit, but it's intertwined with your humanity. So the things that you see that happen in the world, the things that happen in society, the reason why you can't not look at it because there's something in you that's connected to it. Not bad, not punitive, but there's something in you that is invested in life and it's supposed to be like that. The news is supposed to make you upset. That's why they call it the news. But you are invested to life. You are invested in life and life is invested in you. So your goal is to do the best you can with that information. So that is a divine call. The spiritual journey is the wrestling or the navigating from ayaka in Hebrew. Where are you? The call of God to humanity. To hineni, here I am. And the reason why we know, again, so much about these sages and these mystics and all of these spiritual teachers who have lived is because they heard the call and turned towards it. We know about Moses because of the burning bush, right? Well, the bush was on fire, and you got to understand, that is a peculiar thing to see, even if we think of it as allegory. But here's something interesting about humanity. What if Moses wasn't the only one who saw it? More than likely, other shepherds might have been in the desert too to see the burning bush. Moses was the only one who investigated to see what was going on. He didn't just see, but he went and took action. He inquired, he asked a question, and that's all we know about him. So Moses heard the call because Moses was willing to respond. And the name Moshe means to draw out. So every day there's things that pull on us, that draw us out of ourselves, all of these impulses. Again, my invitation is to see the presence of life as the source of all of these impulses and then direct and drive them in the direction that you want to go that's going to do the best good. That's really all you got to do. That is the sum total of all of spiritual philosophy. The question of what happens when I'm no longer here, when I'm no longer in the body. And while I'm in the body, what is the meaning of my life? And the meaning of your life is to live. And so as we live, we don't just live in this body, but we also have dedicated times when we pause to celebrate the life that's alive in everybody's body. We give thanks that all of our children are alive. And for those that are not here, the Apostle Paul says to be absent in the body is to be present with God. So there's a life continuous. There's a continual nature outside the body because the soul doesn't need a body in order to be alive. The soul is life itself. The body is just the vessel by which we're able to do good in this world. Not just to do good for our families, but to elevate the entire world. What they say in Hebrew, tikkun olam, is the restoration of the world. That's why we're here. And you know how we do it? One life at a time, one step at a time. One homework assignment if you've got little kids or grandkids at a time. One conversation at a time. When somebody's nervous and they need your attention and you're having that conversation with them. One moment at a time. That's how you do good. That's how you bring restoration to the world. That's how you respond to life. You do good when you are called, but also when you respond. And you know it's that moment when you find yourself in it and another human is standing right here. So the question is, are you going to turn away or are you going to turn towards? And you don't have to do everything by yourself. You turn towards it to the degree that you can handle it. And then you turn away. And then you turn towards, as we would say, and then you turn back until you build up enough tolerance or resistance. Because remember, when you clock out of life, somebody else clocks in. That is the thing that we forget. When you are off the clock, in fact, say this affirmation with me. You are a city set on a hill that cannot be hid. This is true. This is an affirmation attributed to Jesus. But remember, the sun goes down, or appears to do so because we revolve around the sun, which means the sun sets sometimes. Yes, you are the sun, but you don't have to shine all the time. You can clock out. You can take off. Somebody else, tag, you're it. Somebody else will take over, and somebody else will take over, and somebody else will take over. You are not a team of one. You are not a team of one. And I think it's something that all of us have to remind each other of. I remember it might have been Miss Evelyn. Boy, you need some sleep. It was either Miss Evelyn or Miss Eddie. Take your time. And or it might have been Miss Sharon. The wisdom of the masters is always take your time. But I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Take your time, it'll be there. But I gotta go there. Take your time, it'll be there. I'm late. Well, you ain't gonna be early. You already late. You're gonna be late. Just chill. You might as well drive relaxed now. Sometimes we drive more, or we're supposed to drive more relaxed once you already know and accept that you're late. So life is asking us to hold that duality. See the world as it is and as it should be. Don't take the bypass. Don't overlook things as they are, holding only on to the way you perceive things to be. Yes, the mystics said that, but they also said to see life as it is. Or in the words of Charles Fillmore, zeal can eat you up. Zeal can eat you up, chapter 11. When he talks about zeal, zeal can eat you up. Take care of yourself. Literally, quote, let zeal take care of you. You don't believe me? Go to lessonsintruth.com, click on chapter 11, 12 powers, and scroll down into those paragraphs. Attributed to him. Zeal can eat, yeah, that's the free version, lessonsintruth.com. Zeal can eat you up, but you have to take care of yourself. In other words, see the practicality in life and know that you don't have to do it by yourself. I want to take you deeper into a sacred text just to kind of ground this message. I want to point your attention to an individual who was called in childhood. And I always talk about childhood periodically in my messages because childhood is the time of our earliest formation. And a lot of the things in our life and in our world, our anxiety, who we are, all the internal stuff, can be correlated with childhood. Not exactly, but they sometimes show themselves in childhood. 1 Samuel, chapter 3 and 8. Everybody remember Samuel? The little boy that was called by the presence of God. Samuel is an interesting character. And the short version of his story was his mother Hannah could not have children. And so she prayed and affirmed, and she was able to conceive. And the first child was really sacred, according to that understanding, and given over to the high priest in order to grow up that he or she or they might be in service to divinity. So Samuel was laying down one day. He could have been a child, according to the sages, or he could have been a teenager. And he heard the voice of God, literally, Ayaka, where are you? Or literally, Samuel, literally, the presence of God. He heard the name. So he got up, ran to his teacher, Eli. And his teacher said, boy, go back to bed. Nobody calling you. Heard the second time, Samuel. So he got up. Go back to bed. Came a third time, Samuel. And during the third time, Eli said, this might be God talking to this boy. And he says, well, say this. Your servant is here. Speak. So he did. And I asked myself in preparation for this message, responding to life, talking about how we respond to life and how we should respond to life, and the overall theme of what this actually meant and why the presence of God had to speak 3 times. And my natural mind said, well, maybe he just didn't hear, didn't understand. And I thought about it psychologically. And for me, mystically, the reason why he heard the voice of God 3 times was because there were multiple layers inside of that little boy. The first was his relationship with his mother. So he heard the voice of God, and being a child separated from his mother early on, I'm sure there was some anxiety there. There are psychologists today that says that the reason why many of us as adults are anxious is because our parents didn't hold us long enough. They practiced the crying it out method. They put us down, and we cried and cried and cried and cried and cried, which is why we're so anxious as adults. So they say, but you know how they are, right? And the second reason why the presence of God called him, and he heard it the second time, was because of his relationship with his teacher. Some of our trauma comes from education. Teachers that told us we weren't good enough, we weren't smart enough. Everybody else was smarter than us. Graded our papers with red ink that looked like blood. Pray for y'all kids that are in school. Because sometimes as parents, we don't know what they're dealing with. So you got to be as active as you can to ensure that the presence of God that lives in you is also alive and active in that child, and also alive and active in that teacher. And if that is not the case, you as a parent can help educate them on the ways of God and how to parent your children, or how to educate your children, So the first was because of his relationship with his mother. The presence of God wanted Samuel to know that, hey, things aren't exactly the way you want them to be, but you are loved and you are heard, and I'm here for you. Second call, his relationship with his teacher, Eli. But the third call was special because it was for Samuel himself. The presence of life reminding him that no matter what he does or what he experiences, that God will always be with him. And while you are alive and breathing, the life potential that is in the universe is alive and inside of you. And you are going to be okay. And you are going to get through this, whatever this may be. And this is what life does. When the presence of God speaks to us, it speaks to us on every single level. Sometimes we hear it the first time. Sometimes we hear it the second time. Sometimes we hear it the third time. But whenever you hear it, give yourself a break and do the best you can. And know that the life that is within you will guide you and give you instructions and give you the answer so that you can carry out its wishes. Blessing and enriching everybody in your life. So the next time you feel zeal bubbling in your spirit, know that it's not just happy, joy, but it's the presence of life just reminding you to live. You ain't got to do much, just live. And all will eventually be well in that. Thank you for listening. Peace and blessings. Our offering. For those of you that give online, remember to log on to unitybham.org and click on giving. While those who are in the house and are giving in person, the ushers are making their way forward. And LaDonna's going to give us a special selection. Take it away.
Everybody up.
Nope, not yet. No.
What you guys got it on? Amen. Let's bless this offering. If you will point in the direction of this hat. He said, "Oh Lord." Say this with me. We love this. We bless this offering.
Bless this offering.
Affirming it will be used for
Affirming it will be
the building of this ministry. We bless the givers. We declare their gifts will return back to them with good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Put your hands together one more time.
And now, we'd like to keep standing for Let There Be Peace on Earth. Prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is.
Wherever I am, God is, and all is well.
Thank you much. See everyone Tuesday night.